Welcome back to another JIVij podcast episode. My name is JERiCK.
And I'm Felicia.
And I'm Mickey.
Yay, we got Mickey on the
Hi,
podcast.
How annoying is it? Because I totally think of a song. Hey, Mickey, you're so fun.
I actually love hearing that people sing that song.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
It does not like get tiring for me.
Good.
I was like, because it's like a good song, and there's truth to
I
it.
enjoy it. It was funny.
Yeah,
All
welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
here.
Thank you.
Fun fact, I actually saw Mickey in Japan.
Stop.
Did
Yeah.
we hung
What?
out.
We hung out in Osaka for a day.
In your recent trip, obviously,
Yeah.
that's the only time you went. How nuts. Did you guys know?
Mickey and my mom planned like meeting up for like months.
And your mom, you said?
Yeah, because my mom planned the Japan trip, and I guess she found out that Mickey was going to be in Japan around that time too.
Yeah, we were both at this birthday party for like your
Oh.
mom's friend, and we were just talking, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to Japan," and she's like, "I'm going to Japan," and I was like, "I'm going in June," and she's like, "I'm going in June," and then
Whoa.
it was like just this huge like everything just happened to fall into place, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, let's meet up." I was like, I'll be in the exact same city that you guys are going to be in, so I can tell my friends to have their own day, and I'll meet up with you guys. And it's actually really enjoyable. It was really fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that day was
He was our tour guide of Osaka.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Because,
showing around.
Mickey used to live in Japan a while back, right? You were
Yes.
there for school?
Yeah, in 2017, I studied there the whole year.
Oh, dear.
I was in Tokyo, so I only spent like a few days in Osaka before, so I was trying to not make it seem like I was getting a lost. But yeah, Japan was an awesome experience. So whenever I get the opportunity to go to Japan, I always try to go back.
Beautiful.
yeah.
And do you speak the language?
Yeah, I would say I know like conversational Japanese.
He gets around.
I got
Like,
around.
I was going to say, because usually to have a language, like pick up on a language, you have to immerse yourself in the culture.
Yes.
So being there for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, the year definitely helped, and I was working at a restaurant too when I was studying there.
Oh,
and
you
I think
did?
that definitely
wow.
helped. Yeah, it was like at the steak restaurant, which was pretty nice because they would feed us steak like every day. But
Ooh,
and
that
then
iron.
yeah, and it was a great way I think to like interact with like Japanese customers and kind of get into like the flow of speaking and kind of taking orders and
So were you like,
remembering things.
so when you were working at the restaurant, were you speaking Japanese the entire time, or were you speaking English as well?
So Japan uses like a lot of borrowed words. So like for example, their word steak is just steaky. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like how you would say like it was really funny because my friend was learning Japanese and he's like, how come a lot of these foreign words sound like how a racist would say Japanese?
Yeah,
words?
pretty
And I
much.
was
That's pretty much how it is. Yeah, like all the English words that they use is basically sounds like a racist Japanese.
Interesting.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
like they're using like a bad Japanese accent. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
you know what?
But that's how
Unfortunately-
that's how they really say it.
Wow.
It's funny.
So I mean that was easy working at like a steak restaurant because everything was just like like be like beef steaky or like medium rare.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was easy, and then it was just when it came to things like actually like ordering and like trying to like say like, oh, this is your food, like that was where it would get like a little bit tricky because they use like super polite form when they're communicating to customers.
Oh, okay.
So they don't say like "san," for example. They wouldn't
Yeah.
be like "JERiCK-san." They'd be like, "Oh, JERiCK-sama," which is like
Oh, like
sama-
very formal.
yeah, super formal. And like "sama" is the word for like God. So you're basically treating that. I know.
I gotta go to Japan.
Like you go to a coffee shop and they'll be like Felicia-sama.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're very polite over
I'm
there.
here.
So
Especially
polite.
in the workplace.
Wow, that's cool. And so, how do you guys know each other really quickly?
So his parents and my parents are like very close friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
So, like-
went to high school together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we
In the Philippines?
No, like
Here.
I don't
like
know.
Reno High School, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know how about our parents, but we basically like because I know like Kit likes to say like, oh, me and Kit are like cousins.
Right, right.
We're technically not cousins, but because like we celebrate like Thanksgiving and Christmas all the time,
Oh, okay.
like every year, at least before. So we pretty much like cousins, but
Right,
I mean,
right.
like
I
Mickey
get
and
that.
Kit are like real cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Kit's my real cousin. JERiCK and I go way back. Because Jabon, his brother, and I have birthdays in March, and I would just show up to like Jabon's birthday as like a guest, and then his parents would be like, "Go up, go talk to the magician too." And I'm like, "It's not my birthday." And I remember that. I was like, "Oh, that's so nice."
But yeah, I've known Mickey for a long
Oh,
time.
cool. I
Yeah.
forget you have a brother, JERiCK.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, that's the backstory
Very nice.
of how we know each other.
Cool.
But yeah, so Mickey, we usually start our podcast with a weekly interest.
Okay.
So I guess me and Felicia are gonna start, and then so at least you have time to think about yours.
Yes, thank you.
Felicia, would you like to
Oh.
start?
Darn it. I'm going to say something else this time.
Okay.
Okay?
It's not Stray Kids this time.
But I will give my recognition to Stray Kids because I have officially, like, my son sucked in that world with me. So I'm like, if there is a concert, him and I going, I don't care. I don't care where we're going. It's going to be us.
Oh well,
we
for
dance to it.
I don't know. Do you know Stray Kids?
I think you guys
It's a
mentioned
K-pop
it.
group.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't say I know them. Yeah, I can't say I've heard any of
Okay.
their songs, but I'm pretty new into the world of K-pop.
But yeah.
Yeah, I fell into them accidentally. I think from a reaction video, to be honest. And then I heard somebody's voice and I was like, whoa, who's that voice? Because like this really deep voice. And then like I saw what they looked like and I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. And then I've been a fan ever since. But my son has like gone into Stray Kids, like to where he's watching YouTube videos.
On his
and
own.
On his own. Like picking up on the language,
Really?
learning the songs, and I mean, I even have Anthony listening to it.
Really?
My husband. He went out last night and he came home and he's like, hey, I have to tell you something. I was like, what? You listen to Stray Kids all by yourself? And he's like, how'd you know? But I mean, oops. Other than that, I would say I've been focusing a lot on my photography and the studio. So I'm pretty messed up today because I've been painting this weekend. And
Yeah, she was just painting right before we
Yeah.
started.
And I've also been trying to keep up with my editing and posting. So I've been doing some reels and
Nice.
trying to get myself out there
That's
a little
awesome.
bit better because I'm horrible at that. So
Social media is hard.
it is hard.
There's a lot.
And I think I just don't want to think too much about it. So I'm just doing whatever I think is right. But consistency is what I'm working towards. So my interest has been focusing on that.
Cool.
So what's yours, JERiCK?
Well, mine is I'm still in that YouTube rabbit hole.
Streamers?
Yes, well, it's a different streamer this time.
Okay.
Last time it was
Another girl?
Valkyrie. Yes, it is another girl.
This
This time it's her name's Emiru,
Okay.
Emiru. She's half Chinese, half German.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's a gamer, and I just been watching a lot of her like YouTube clips because she does cosplay as well. So it's interesting like how intense it is to do cosplay. Like it's so intricate. Like it just looks so like, oh, you're just like wearing your favorite anime character or
right.
game character, but there's so much into it. There's so much like little details, and like I just like love seeing like the passion behind like when I watch people and then they're just like so into their craft. Like I can just feel their passion, and it's just like it just draws me in. And
cool.
she's also very cute, so I'm like not gonna front.
Of course.
The cuteness definitely hooked me
That
in.
draws you in.
The personality got me to stay.
At least you're honest.
But yeah, I just been watching a lot of her videos, and yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like the stuff that I want to do for YouTube, because obviously like podcast is definitely gonna be number one. But then I'm trying to figure out what else can I do. So I've been doing like reaction videos.
Yeah.
But I want to do other things too, aside from those two. Still trying to figure out what it is. Yeah, that's why I've been doing research.
Oh, nice. That is very good.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my weekly update. How about you, Mick?
Let's see. I think this week I've been a little too invested in the Olympics, more so watching like the Team Philippines. Don't get me wrong. I love supporting Team America as well, but they are already doing so well that I like to support.
It's so expected to
exactly.
win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like a nice surprise when, a winner from like a non-Western country wins or like a as developed country wins. So whenever the Philippines places, I'm like always there like cheering them on, or I'm like super devastated when they are so close. Like the pole vaulter from the Philippines.
I think I saw you post on Instagram about Olympics.
Yes, I know. It's crazy because I don't even like sports to begin with, but I love the Olympics. I love the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a pole vaulter from the Philippines who got like 4th place, and I was so sad for him. And then I found out there was like a golfer from the Philippines who placed 4th as well, and I was like,
Okay.
so close.
Did somebody win gold?
Yeah, there was like a gymnast that won 2 gold medals, and that was like
From the Philippines?
From the Philippines.
Hey, shout out.
And I hope it's true because they showed essentially what the payout was for his golds, and then what kind of perks he gets afterwards, and it's just a ton.
Yeah, he gets like a condo in Manila.
Yes.
He gets free flights for life on Philippine Airlines.
What?
Isn't that
That's
crazy?
legit.
That's
I would
so
just
nice.
be traveling everywhere.
Yeah,
But that's
never
cool.
be home.
What a beautiful thing.
Isn't that nice? I
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I've been super invested with the Olympics, and now that it's over, I'm like, what am I going to do now? Like, what am I going to post about it? Because I think today or tomorrow was like the last day. So
Oh wow. Can I ask? I didn't get to see it yet, and I really wanted to see it. Was the breakdancing? But all I'm seeing is this breakdancing Australia person who wasn't breakdancing. I don't know what was dancing. It was like what I try to do in front of my son, and my son trying to do in front of me. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen that.
And so I feel like that segment has taken all over social media. I can't even see what really took place for the breakdancing because everybody's making a spoof of it. Did you see it?
I did see it, and I was like that the representative from Australia, and maybe she really was just like the best in Australia, but I don't know. She was so funny. Like people were making memes out of her.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like it was that bad?
There was this one where she was doing like a
rabbit
kangaroo
hop.
hop or something. Yeah.
Kangaroo, maybe?
Yeah, kangaroo from Australia.
But did you see other breakdancers and it was good?
Yeah, there were actually some really good ones.
Like I need to find. I've probably got to go on YouTube.
The only
find
ones
it.
that I really watch is the basketball ones.
Oh yeah,
And they did win,
Anthony
which
was
is cool.
Very invested in that.
But yeah, there's a lot of drama in the basketball team as well too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard like a lot of bad calls and things like that.
Just because like one of the players that just like won a championship like didn't get to play in like one of the games, and he's like one of the top players in the NBA right now too.
Oh, okay.
And he was just like did not play, so like people are just kind of, why is he not playing? But they still won, so it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, Olympics.
It's over. See you guys in 4 years. I'm not gonna talk about sports for another 4 years.
We can actually go to this one. I mean, you could have gone to the other ones if you traveled, but
What? Where's the
one's
next
in LA,
one?
right?
In
Oh,
LA. And
damn.
then Winter
Okay.
Olympics is in Utah.
I think Utah, 2032 or 36. One of
Okay.
those.
So
Wait,
plan for it.
34. That.
I'm like, I'm trying to get media passes. Let's go take some
Ooh,
pictures.
That'd
I'm
be
like,
fun.
how do you get to be the person in the, taking the photos?
Yeah.
Sign up for a media pass.
well, now you can say that your podcast talks about the Olympics.
Yeah, there you go. I know. Coverage on the Olympics.
But this podcast like comes out a week later, so I was just like, it's already over.
It's over.
Just do live streams. It's fine.
I do wanna do live stream eventually. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that because it would be cool to do a live stream while we're doing a podcast.
And
So, like-
see comments come through.
Yeah, and then
respond.
if people like have questions or anything, that would be kind of fun. I feel like live streaming is just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
What
Yeah.
are we getting into, JERiCK?
this week's topic is drum roll. Well, Mickey picked it. So what is it, Mick?
Is keeping and maintaining friendships.
Hey,
Ooh.
that's gonna be a good one because I have a lot to say about that.
I'm very bad at maintaining friendships. I don't want to say I'm bad. There's a lot of reason behind it.
Yeah.
So we'll get into the conversation and we'll see if I'm wrong or if it just makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you want to start, Mick? What was the reason that you picked that topic in particular?
So
Put you on the spot.
I was having a conversation with some friends earlier this week, trying to figure out like what to talk about for this podcast. And one of the main things we always discuss about is how hard it is to make friends as adults. And it's really true because we have less time for interacting in social activities and things like that. And also because like as an adult, I think people are just more tired all the time.
Yes.
And it's hard to find, or it's hard to put yourself in places where people have similar interests as you. And I'm not one to necessarily speak on how to help people make friends because I think that's like everybody's like own journeys that they have to discover themselves. You know, I'm not going to tell you to join a running club if you're not good at running.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of just like maintaining and like keeping your friends that you have, everybody kind of acts the same and everybody has like the same sort of boundaries and limitations. And I think just bringing an awareness to that is like super important so we can start being more cognizant of like how we're treating our friends and making sure that, you know, that we're not doing things that might jeopardize our relationships with these people. We got to keep them while we have them, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I feel like for me, at least in my adult years, I'm not even going to talk about like my past life with friendships, but in my current present time, I'm very honest with who I become friends with because I'm a very busy person. And so I think what helps me with maintaining friendships is at least finding people who are understanding of that.
Yes.
Because my life everybody's life is busy, you know, but I have the studio and then I do photography and then I have my 9 to 5 and then I'm mom and wife, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to fit in those moments. And don't get me wrong, I get a lot of guilt from it, like a ton of guilt. And I end up being the person that like does a random like voice message or send a video being like, I'm so sorry because I'm a horrible friend. But thankfully I've found certain people that just kind of understand my life and help me feel better. But I do agree with it being hard to make new friends. And I think now that I'm, you know, obviously mom, it's been nice to find some people who have kids because that kind of helps us socialize because we just bring our kids together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have my mom friends, I have my regular friends, and then I guess it's just finding people who fit your lifestyle, which sounds kind of, I feel like that sounds a little selfish. I don't know.
Well, that was one of the points.
Well,
now,
I don't
actually
see
wrote
that's
that
a
down.
problem though, because especially with, like you said, as an adult, like we're so busy that it's already hard to make time for like, if you have so many things going on at the same time, it's already hard enough to hang out with the friends that you have, and then just like meeting other like new people too. That you're just gonna. There's only so much time in the world, you know what I mean? So like for me, I don't look at it as like, oh, I'm being selfish if I'm not like seeing my friends as often as I should. And because like all the friends that I have too, like should understand that, like we all have busy lives as an adult. Like it's hard to just kind of like, it's not just like I can call you anytime like, hey, you want to hang out right now?
Right.
Like we used to do that in high school where we had nothing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now it's just like, oh, do you want to hang out? Like I can put you in 2 weeks from now. Like, you know, and it's like,
Pencil you in.
yeah, let me pencil you in on my calendar because that's just how it is as an adult. I don't know a solution to make that better. I mean, do you have one?
I have some suggestions.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. Bring on the suggestions,
Let me
please.
grab my notes.
Before I start losing all my friends. Balance, I think, is.
Oh my God, I took
one
some
of the
notes
things.
because I was like, I need to organize my thoughts for this because I'm not trying to say something that will get me, you know, canceled.
Yeah, trust me, especially on YouTube, you get canceled real quick.
Let me just really quickly talk about like my qualifications on why I'm able to talk about.
Oh, okay. Let's go, credentials.
Yes.
Well, I'm just I think one of the reasons why I think I'm okay, I'm an okay person to talk about this topic is because I do feel like I have a pretty healthy friendship base. As somebody who has studied in like other countries, like I was in Japan in 2017, I'm still able to like maintain those friendships there. Like when I went to Japan, like a few months, like just last month, I was able to hit up a lot of my friends, you know, who I made friends with in 2017. So even though time has passed, it really was like nothing has changed. And in other instances is like when I did like my study abroad in Korea, when I also went to like Denmark for like a little bit. I have friends from when I was like in kindergarten who I'm still friends with now.
Oh, damn.
That's
Kindergarten.
awesome.
I don't
Kindergarten.
have any friends from kindergarten.
No. Even though, and I've been a person who like moves. Like I moved out of Reno like twice already and then came back. And even while I was gone, I was still able to maintain my Reno friends. And then when I moved back, it was very easy to kind of get myself back into that place. So,
Wow.
and then I always hear it from friends. Like I'll go to like a music festival with like some of my Reno friends, or I'll even just be walking around the marina with like another friend, and then I'll walk by somebody and be like, "Oh my God, hello! I haven't seen you in a while." And they're always like, Mickey knows somebody everywhere. And then one time I bumped into
I ran into him at the marina too.
So are you extroverted, more extroverted than introverted? Because I feel like sometimes that makes a difference.
I think it definitely makes a difference. I am an extroverted through and through. And
I am not.
I'm more introverted for sure.
Way introverted.
I can be extroverted, but I feel like I need to like kind of activate that. Like when I'm out, like I can be socializing, but like when I'm at home, I'm just like, don't talk to me.
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of these tips that I wrote down, I think will actually help even introverted people. So
Oh, good.
a lot of them are
Hey.
pretty like
Thank you.
they're pretty low effort things that you can do. To
Hey, we
maintain
got an expert in
friendships.
the podcast.
Goodness.
It was really funny because I was talking to one of my friends who's like a self-proclaimed introvert, and
Self-proclaimed. That
some-
should be a shirt.
yeah,
I would wear that.
Ooh, that'd be a cool
Self-proclaimed
shit.
introvert. Me.
he showed me this like tweet, I think it was, and it was like, how do introverts make friends? And then somebody replied back and was like, oh, I was just standing and then an extroverted person talked to me and I like somehow stayed in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
That
I
sounds
feel like
legit.
that's how it happened.
Right?
Because I don't be doing nothing.
Yeah.
No effort. Zero. They just come in.
Yeah, it's very rare for me to be the first one to engage in a conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So shout out to your extrovert friends for
I
getting
know.
you in.
Seriously. Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
Now
Thank you.
it's your part. Now it's your time to maintain them,
I know.
keep them.
That's the thing.
And we'll get into that.
Okay.
Okay, so what I wrote down is, we did mention it. I putting your friends into different spheres. So like you talked about how you have like your mom friends and you have like your like regular friends.
So you put it in a category of the type of friends.
It is circles.
Yes, like put them
Okay.
into like circles. You know, basically like trying to figure out like, you know, is this type of friend like one that I'm only going to see when I go out clubbing? Is this my friend who I'm going to see like at the bars? Is this one of my friends who wants to do like wholesome game nights? You know, so trying to figure out like where you interact the most with those friends,
Okay.
and making sure that you are kind of making mental notes of like, okay, I want to go out on Friday and that's in like a couple days. Let me go hit up my like clubbing friends or my going out friends and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that helps a lot with like rejection. I think people get really discouraged when they're like asking a friend to do something and they're asking like the wrong friends. You know, like don't ask your
Yeah.
friend who likes to read to go out on the weekends.
That's
you know?
true.
Yeah,
That's
because I
so
honestly
true.
already do that. Like I have
Get
friends.
rejected?
I reject people. Because I have friends that like I do like, let's say like if I want to go hiking, there's only a few people I would like hit up to like do that. Or if I want to go to the beach in Tahoe, to like there's only a few. And then if I want to do like other things, there are like certain people that I would hit up. Like I won't hit up like some like a friend that wouldn't necessarily do the things that I would like want to do at that moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I do have that like this is my type of friend that I would do this activities with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
You know, and sometimes it's not even just because they have like different interests or hobbies. You know, sometimes people could just be like at different points in their life.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I have a friend who he's like trying to save up for like a big purchase. So he's like my $15 or less friend, you know? So he's like my movies on a Tuesday friend,
That's
I like that.
yeah, I never even thought of that.
you know? And then
That's
like
cool.
there are friends who like I have like younger friends who are maybe just now leaving college, and I'm like, those are not going to be my career friends. You know, like I'm not going to go to them for career advice. I'm not going to go for them when I need like a deep conversation. You know, and I think kind of
Jeez.
knowing like what your friends can offer you will help you will help one kind of get past any disappointment that you might face because they're not able to help you in that specific way, and two, it helps you see like the value in what they're able to provide. You know,
Yeah.
Wow.
which kind of brings me to like my second bullet that I wrote is don't expect one friend to be everything.
That's a really good one.
I feel like
Right.
that worked in your younger years.
The
You know,
everything?
you have like the one best friend,
Yes, yeah.
and then you're just going through your young experiences
Yeah.
together. But then I feel like that definitely changes when you're older.
Mm-hmm.
This is very strategic. I've never thought about
This is a very intentional way of like
I'm
looking
like,
at friends.
I'm like, I have friends, and then we all do the things. See, as that person, I'm like, we all do the things, and then that's
Yeah.
probably why everything gets crossed because we're trying to fit in on the things that we don't really fit in on.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm enjoying this.
Oh, and another thing I forgot to note with like the first bullet about the putting your friends in like circles is, you know, sometimes there is overlap. You know, sometimes your introverted friend wants to be more extroverted and they want to go with you to the club. Don't be like, oh, you're not my club friend. You can't come with
This
us.
is Spear 3.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You can't come in. Oh,
That's a good point though, because like sometimes like there are like events where like, oh, maybe everybody can go.
yeah.
You know, like special events that would just like everybody would enjoy this.
Right.
So it's not like a very specific yeah.
Friend group. Wow.
You know, and you should probably see that as like a compliment that they're reaching out to you to try like a new thing. You know, and sometimes like when people say like they want to start going to music festivals, because I love going to music festivals, and I'm somebody who's like, oh, I don't really want to babysit. So I'll be like very real with them and say, hey, like you're more than welcome to join our group, but I will need you to understand that you'll have to be comfortable doing things alone or potentially going to sets that you might not like. And
Right.
if you don't like the set, like be okay leaving the group and then meeting us back later. Because, you know, as much as I do want to help you, I know you're new to this and there's probably going to be things that you don't like. And I can't be the one to, you know, hold your hand through everything and help you navigate this because I want to enjoy this for myself as well. So if people do want to overlap spheres or like enter like into another realm of friendship, I think making it be known that like this is something that I'm really interested in and we're
Right.
at different levels of this and I will gladly help you dip your toes in the water and help you get started into it. But I also am doing this like for myself.
Have you ever come across a situation where you were essentially that honest and that person was just like, what the fuck? Excuse me? What do you mean? You know, because I feel like that's not very common to have that type of honesty saying, hey, you can tag along, but, you know, we're here for ourselves. So if you either come with me or you go off on your own and we do our own thing. You know, I feel like I've never gotten that. So it'd be so interesting.
I honestly prefer that.
Actually,
Like, I would prefer that somebody would tell me that, because I mean, it's easy for me because I'm also very independent. So like, I don't really give a fuck.
JERiCK never gives a fuck.
No, but it's true though. It's just like people should just be able to like be okay with, you know, like sometimes you can be alone. Like in an event, like you can just stand there in the corner by yourself. Like who cares?
Yeah.
Because some people get really uncomfortable like just being by themselves, and like I don't want to be the one to like entertain that person the entire time if I want to just go around and like mingle with other people, you know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
So like it's like I do understand that, like, hey, if you're gonna go to this, like be okay with just like being by yourself. Or
You know, and I do that. I know it sounds like very like direct and kind of like straightforward, but sometimes you just need to set those expectations because I think people, especially like, you know, when your introverted friends are going out with you, sometimes it's easy to forget that not everybody in the group is as outgoing, and now they're going to feel left out because they thought you were going to make them feel more included or you were going to do more for them. So I think kind of letting them know like ahead of time, like, hey, like this is my thing and you're more than welcome to be a part of it and I'll help you as much as I can. But you also need to know when it's your time to go home, you know, if you're not feeling this, or if you really are not comfortable having somebody help you, like maybe walk you to your home or something just to kind of get you out of there. And that did happen recently, like when we were in Japan, because my group, there was a lot of us who liked to go clubbing, liked to go drinking, and then there was this one friend who that's definitely not his scene.
Right.
And I was like, you should know that there's probably going to be times when our group wants to do things that you're not going to be interested in, and in those instances, either, you know, find something that you want to do that's maybe nearby, or be okay being like at the Airbnb alone at those times, because, you know, this is like a new experience for a lot of people in our group and they want to be able to go out and drink and not have somebody bring the group down. And he, when we went, it wasn't necessarily going to bars and clubs that was this thing. He really wanted to go to like a specific museum that nobody else really wanted to do, and he was like, okay, I'll go to the museum and then I'll meet you guys for dinner and we'll see how that goes. And he said that he had like a great time, you know, going by himself.
That's good.
Yeah. And he was like he met up with us for dinner and he was like, I love being able to just go at my own pace. And even though I was like alone, I didn't mind it, you know?
Right.
So I think giving him like those warnings ahead of time kind of helps set the tone for what's going to happen.
I really like that, because I'm the type of person who would love to go to a museum on their own, because I'm that person. I'm like, let me go see some art. And I know not everybody wants to spend time doing that. And like my best friend, for instance, there's pretty much an age gap. So for a while it was like, you know, raging 20s, and I'm like, bro, mom, I'm pregnant. Like I can't keep up. But I think it's nice to kind of have that understanding between one another and be like, hey, you know, you can go hang out and party, but I might go off and do this and have it be totally okay.
Yeah.
Versus like worrying about, oh, I got to go do this, or oh, she's going to want to watch a long ass documentary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, finding like that compromise. Yeah, do it. You know, like when you're hanging out with friends, like, oh, I know you guys want to grab dinner and then go to the club. I'll join you for dinner, but I want to go
I'm
clubbing.
going to send a PowerPoint.
Here's the list of the activities that are acceptable.
This is how our friendship works.
And honestly, people just should be honest like that.
Yeah.
Because we already have so much like limited time to do things. And like if people have certain expectations, they should just be like, let's just set this expectations right now, and this is what's gonna happen. If you're cool with it, cool. If not, then
no hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
Make sure you know your exit plan.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, those are really good tips.
Love that.
Yeah, and I think that really just helps prevent like disappointment. This can be like a theme, is just making sure that you're not disappointed, making sure your friends aren't disappointed.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
Because I hate when people like guilt trip me and they're like, oh, I didn't feel like I was included, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I told you it was happening, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. These are really good tips. Good job, Mick.
Thanks. I'm glad you like those
Tips
ones.
1 and 2. Solid.
Let's see. The other one I wrote is be gracious to your friends who are there. And if we look at our friends, you'll probably see that there are ones that we hang out with more often than others. You know, like maybe they're the ones that live closer to us, or the ones that have like a lot more interests as we do. And sometimes when you hang out with somebody for so long, they start to get like irritating, or like the simplest of things start to like build up. And if you really think about it, it's like you're more likely to get into arguments with people that you see more regularly, as opposed to your friends who live in other places. And so I think we start to shift. We're like, oh man, that friend that lives like on the other side of the country is like a better friend because we never got into fights. Well, you also probably saw them like once a year.
Right.
You know?
That is for sure true, because I am that person. I don't know what it is, but I always hit a point in any type of relationship where, I don't know, my nerves just get bothered, and it's at no fault of them. You know, they're just being themselves.
So you should
But
get
I'm over
triggered.
here on like my high horse, like getting pissed off over nothing. But that's true.
Right.
That is so true.
And so maybe understanding that, like, if there's a friend that you hang out with every weekend, like maybe just take a break from them, like every once in a while, you know, like maybe like, okay, I can't do this weekend, but let's for sure meet next weekend. You know, I needed to
Give yourself space, or give,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like a relation. It's a real relationship.
Yeah, because for me, I always like to, like, I feel like I need to recharge every time I go out and hang out with people. So like, after I hang out with people, I'm just like, I don't want to see anybody for the next few days.
Right.
It's just like, I want to be alone. I don't want to talk to people. I'm just like that kind of friend. I'm just like I guess a low maintenance would be the right description for it. Because I don't need to talk to my friend as often as some other people like to talk to.
Yeah.
Because I have friends from like high school, even middle school, that have been like best friends for a long time. Andrew and Christian, you know them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've known them since middle school, and like they're still in my life, but I mean, they already moved to like SoCal, so like I barely see them. But every time we hang out, every time they're in town, or every time I visit them, it's still kind of like, once we get together, it's like it feels like nothing has changed in a way.
Right.
Like, obviously we've all changed personally, but like when we hang out, it's still like, oh, we're having a good time. It's like everybody's like joking around, and it seems like we're like, even though we're not as close because proximity, one, but also like we still feel close when we see each other, and even though we don't really necessarily talk all the time. With the friends that I have here, like I just need time to like figure out, like, all right, we'll hang out at that time. I'm cool with that, but like the rest of the time, it's my time, and that's just how, like, at least I like to like live my life, I guess. Yeah.
Well, it's like you get more excited when you see a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. There's like so much to catch up on, so many new things going on, that it's easy to like be engaged and be interested.
Exactly.
As opposed to like a friend that lives near you who you see like every week. It's like what really has changed in that week, you know?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
true.
same story, you know? So
That is true.
it's like being gracious in terms of like, I mean, if you need a break, let them know that like you can't do it. I mean, don't blame it on them. It's like, I need a break from you, you know?
No.
Just be like, I need like this week to kind of like regroup, kind of get things in order, maybe like re-energize myself. And then also be aware that they might be in a similar position where they might need to take like some time to themselves,
Right.
and just being okay with that.
Yeah.
You know? And if, you know, that friend who you see like every week isn't available, then go try to hit up one of your friends in your other circles or something, you know? Go on a hike, go to the club, do something.
Yeah.
Or even like use that time for yourself.
It is interesting though to hang out with the people that you don't normally hang out with, is because it's like, it's so different.
Yeah.
It is different.
Yeah. And it's
And a
like,
comfort zone.
it's very I don't know if novelty is the right term for it, but it's just like, it's cool, but then I'm just like, I'm not used to it, so it feels uncomfortable a little bit. Yeah, especially if like you're not like super close to them, you just know them, or like, oh, we've hung out a few times,
Right,
but then
right.
like they bring you to like a totally different circle. You're like, oh, I don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
Because I just actually had that experience too. Like somebody, one of my friends invited me to a pool party, and like I went, like I only knew like a couple people there. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people there, but still, I'm just like, I wasn't really very social around that time too, just because I wasn't really feeling it. But I
Right.
was still having a good time. But it was just kind of like, like I'm not used to like hanging out with people that I don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of takes it back to like one of the first points that I brought up, is like when you put yourself in those new situations, like
Yeah.
setting those expectations and letting that friend know that, hey, I might leave early, just kind of depending on if I'm like not feeling it.
Yeah.
Don't tell
that-
people I'm not feeling it, but like just don't be surprised if I suddenly
actually that's
leave.
kind of fair too, to let them know ahead of time, like, hey, I don't really know people there, I might leave early or whatever, but
Like, yeah, I'm down to go to the pool party, but I might head out early.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Actually, I do that with my husband.
What? Like, hey, we can hang out, but like, I'm good right now.
Because he has like his friends, and sometimes we'll go like on a date
When you
together.
hang out with his friends.
Yeah, so like we'll go on a date together, and then we'll go hang out with his friend afterwards. And not that I'm not friends with his friend, but sometimes I just know that I don't have it in me. Like my social battery is below E or whatever. My gap. You know what I mean? You know, it's low, and I think now I've actually started to just admit that, hey, you don't want to be out, Felicia. Like, don't try to stick it out. Go home. It's fine. You know, husband's gonna be totally fine on his own. And sometimes it's shocking for him because it's such a change. But I think I'm in such a phase.
Do you tell him? You're like, hey, I'm not feeling it. I'm going home.
Yeah, and it actually happened recently because that's exactly what happened. We did an event together, like a photography event, and then we had like some drinks and some food, and we were supposed to go out and watch one of his friends DJ. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna tag along. Like, I'm gonna do it. Son's with grandma, so let's have a night out. And I walked in and I was like, oh, there's a lot of
Nah,
people.
it's not it.
I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I just felt like I was going to be a bummer for them.
Yeah.
So I just removed myself from the situation. I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I tried to come out, and I told my husband, like, I'm just going to go home. And he's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I don't want to be here. And then I just went home and just hung out, did some editing.
What did you say? He was cool with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took the car, and I think he got dropped off.
Okay.
I think it's important to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And then like being honest with others, which I feel like is a trend or a commonality between all these tips, is like communicating and over communicating.
Yeah.
Because when you don't, then that's when you get in those situations, and sometimes it doesn't work out well.
And then from his perspective too, like it's probably better for him to not have you around.
Yeah,
because if you're bummed out
about me.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, oh, wife's not having a good time.
Exactly.
You know, and that's not fair.
Because like I've dealt with that before too, with like my ex. Like we would go out and like she doesn't want to go out, and then I would have to like entertain her the entire time, like trying to take care of her, and like I don't really want to do that when I'm trying to have fun. So it's just like, and then vice versa too. Like sometimes I don't want to go out, and then like she has to do the same. But yeah, like I would rather, at least for me now, like I would rather like go out on my own or have my significant other go out on their own if I'm like, if we're not feeling it, you know. Just because it's just gonna bum everybody out.
It
It's
really-
just it's not fun.
To bring
It's
down
gonna
the
be a
vibe.
total
Exactly.
killjoy,
Exactly.
but that's why.
Be honest.
Be honest. And he knows enough to ask now.
Yeah.
Be like, do you want to go? No. I know.
Yeah, I think it's also important to know that people are more likely to like talk about or to question the person who's bringing like the group down at the party
Yeah.
than the person who left, you know? Like people might be like,
That's
oh, where'd they
true.
go? And you can just say, oh, they went home early and then
Yeah.
end the discussion. But like,
Yeah, that's true.
if they see somebody who's constantly bringing the energy down,
Yeah,
people
Like
are
you
gonna
can
talk.
see it
that.
or you can feel their energy
Yeah.
too.
True.
Yeah.
Energy vampire, don't be that.
Exactly.
Don't be
Get on your own
Don't
bus.
do that.
Like go home.
Get the hell out.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I think
Jeez.
people will appreciate you more for doing that. And
Yeah.
you save the party by not being the energy vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cause like, I do that too. Like
Be
when
a
I'm
pooper all on your own.
when I go to a party and I'm like, I'm not feeling it, I'm like I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And people like a lot of my friends now too, they're just like, oh, they're just like not feeling it. So they're cool with it.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's such an adult thing.
Yeah.
Because I would never have done that as a teenager
Yeah.
or even in my early 20s. You know, you're just putting yourself through misery just to be part of it.
Yeah.
Right? FOMO.
Like we're too old to
Exactly.
be people pleasing all the time.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's
I mean-
true.
Wow.
Yeah. Is there any tips? Other
Other
Oh,
tips?
I got a few more.
so we got
yes,
that was 3, right?
Those are 3.
Okay.
Yep. Another one I have is be the one to reach out first. I know.
I'm
Bad at that.
I
yeah,
know.
I'm not the best at that, but I do try sometimes. Yeah.
I know people always seem to be doing. They're like, oh, well, that person hasn't reached out to me in a while, so I'm not gonna reach out to them.
I'm guilty of that. Sorry.
Passive aggressive over here.
At least I'm admitting it.
That's
I
true.
try to be
At least
better.
you're self aware.
You love self-awareness.
Yeah, that's a start.
But I mean, it's true. It's like, I know it could be like, I know it takes more energy to be the first person to reach out, and it can be like a little daunting because you haven't seen them in a while. But, you know, sometimes people just get so busy that they don't realize like how much time has gone by.
Yeah.
You know, like I haven't seen, like I was hanging out with my friend like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I haven't seen you since March. And like, I didn't even feel like 3 months have passed, like 3, 4 months have passed, you know, and just reaching out and just saying like a simple, hey, like, how are you? Like, it's been a while. Like, do you want to go grab dinner or something? Was like enough to kind of like spark that friendship again. And we weren't necessarily like in a bad spot, but just like not seeing each other for a while. Like, it's just so easy to let that go by, you know, especially as like adults with things outside of work and like family. It's really hard to kind of balance everything. Yeah. So it's nice when somebody can kind of like anchor you back in to like friendship and like, oh yeah, you know what? I do have a life outside of like my work and all these other things. So it's nice that somebody's thinking about me and reaching out first.
Yeah. Like I am the type of friend though, is like if I text you and you don't respond, I don't necessarily like take offense to that, but then I'm just like not gonna keep trying. I'm just like, if there's a bubble of like me and repeat, then we have a problem. You know, so like if you don't respond the first time, I'm just like, maybe they're busy. Like I don't, you know, maybe I'll try some other time.
I am such a serial like.
Felicia is pretty bad at replying.
Like, but I'm like one of those. You text me, and then 2 months later, I'm like picking up the conversation, like, oh hey, blah, blah, blah. Like it was yesterday. That's so bad. I apologize. For
that's pretty bad.
I know you texted me 3 months ago, but just getting around to it.
Yeah.
Not good.
But yeah, I do try sometimes. Yeah, because like, I don't know, like some people don't necessarily respond right away. And it usually takes time. I don't know.
I feel like the times that people have done that to me, because I really don't do that. I overanalyze, and then I get anxious, and then I get into my head, and then it just becomes like me thinking about all
what
these
if
things.
they don't respond?
Well, not even that, but just like reaching out. I'm like, oh, I don't want to bother them. Blah blah. Well, that's the point of having friends.
Exactly.
But when people do it to me, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, yeah, and it kind of.
And you should. I feel like you should look at it that way, right? Like, oh, you think that you're bothering them for texting,
like,
but then if you get a text, like, does that bother you that you get a text?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, like
and the worst case scenario is like, hey,
I just
can't
don't reply.
Do it. Yeah. Or they can't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta stop being in my head. Well, not stop being in it, but you know, being silly.
Well, I think it's like a nice gesture that somebody messaged me first, because it means that they were thinking about me.
Right.
You know,
That's true.
That's kind of how I like to see it. And you know, like what you were mentioning is like you would text them and they wouldn't reply back. But at least you could say that you did your part.
Yeah.
And then like also kind of ties it back to like being a little gracious with them, because you know, maybe they are like Felicia and they take 2 months to reply. Are you gonna hold that against them? You know, are you gonna be like, well, you didn't reply back to me in 2 months.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we can.
Like there's an expiration date.
Yeah.
You know what I also do is, and I don't know what, it's probably a part of my mental stuff, but I go through these moments where I get like this high, and then I like mass text everybody, like not the same message, but I'm like all of my friends, I'm like, hey, just thinking about you, love you, and then reaching out to like family members, hey, hope you're doing well, love you, and like I do that, right? And everybody's like, oh shit, Felicia's like engaging, and then I drop off like the next day.
The funny thing is, I have done that sometimes too. Like I would just like hit up everybody, right? And then they would respond. So I'm like, I don't have energy to respond to you.
It's like, you're just supposed to
It was
read
like
it.
the energy already vanished. I'm like, I don't want to respond right now.
That's
Like
where
just
you
wait.
set the expectation, Jug. Be like, don't respond, just read it.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm just reaching out.
Yeah.
Hey, this is tricky.
Yeah. Those are really good tips.
Yeah.
All right.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
What we got?
Okay, another one I have is using the power of social media.
Ooh.
And yeah, that was like one of the biggest ones I think that's helped me maintain and keep a lot of my friendships.
I feel like that's how I keep track of people.
Yeah.
Social media.
I think that's definitely one of the easiest ways to kind of keep people like in your head, like to remember them by, is like looking at their stories, looking at like who looked at your story. And like there's just a lot of like stimulation constantly from like everyday life that it's really hard to like remember everybody that's in your life who you were once.
I feel like with these algorithms though, they be hiding a lot of my friends.
And you know what
True.
You know what it is too? It's like when you see their stories, it's like, oh, you already know what's going on in their lives. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need to ask. Like, oh, they're doing this. So like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a bad thing too, because like it's probably better to reach out.
Yeah.
But then you're already like, oh, I know what's happening in their lives. Like, I don't need necessarily to like ask or, like, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it does trigger that, where it's like when you respond to somebody's story, like, hey, that's really cool. And then it sparks a conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was gonna say is, people post things on their social media that they want people to see.
Yes.
They want, obviously they want like this picture to get attention. So
Yeah.
the fact that you're commenting on like how good they look in this photo or like how fun that looks, I think that is what's gonna keep you in their heads.
Dang.
And then you should try this. Try commenting on like a few people's posts next time, or commenting on their stories, and then seeing how many of them will reply back or comment on your posts. That's actually like, I've noticed that like when I comment on somebody's post, and like maybe like the next post I do, they'll also comment.
Yeah,
back.
it does tend to. It's not that it becomes a requirement, but like people tend to, when you respond or like, comment, it does make you want to do the same
It's
for
like
them.
a reciprocation.
Yeah, exactly.
energy. That's so good.
So if you
I
want
do
people
nothing.
to comment on your stuff, you
God.
better start commenting, Felicia.
Anything you post, JERiCK, I got you.
We're just commenting
know.
on each other.
It's like, that's a good. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go home and like go on a commenting.
Yeah, because I do respond to people's stories sometimes. Just if I see something interesting, like I don't need to
Right,
respond to
right.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be genuine too. Don't just like
Yeah, no,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't just
I
leave
know.
a random comment and be like, hey,
You
this
look
is great.
And
Yeah.
No, exactly.
that's true.
Yeah, I think people just tend to forget like the power of just like a simple like or like a simple comment. Like it really means a lot for
It
somebody,
does.
because they're social media, like people, it might look like a highlight reel of people's lives, but it also is like them really like being open and posting what they want and hoping that they get like a positive reaction back.
Yeah.
For it, so people love the positive reinforcement they're getting
Yeah.
from posting their content.
Because for me too, like I love getting comments on YouTube, especially the podcasts, when it's like very genuine.
Yeah.
And like
I respond to them.
yeah, I love responding to it.
Like, oh, thank you.
Because sometimes I do think that like, so I post a lot, and in my head it's like, oh, nobody cares, nobody's listening. But then once in a while I get that comment, and we're like, hey, this podcast was really interesting. Like I saw somebody commented like about a week ago, he was like, man, you're an inspiration to like all. I'm like, oh damn, like that's cool. You know what I mean? Like it's, I love getting those type. Like it's not that I like need that validation, but it is nice to get
Absolutely.
that validation.
Yes.
So yeah, please comment down below. Say nice things. Just kidding.
No, but seriously, and then I think another great way that social media could be like a good tool is when we are all living in different places, like throughout the country or even throughout the globe. It's like an easy way to kind of keep us connected.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
because I'm like, people here, they're not going to be calling you. Like, I can't be calling my friends that live in Japan. Like, I'm not paying for international data like that. Like, international calls. But like, because Instagram or even like Facebook, it all runs on like, you can use it on Wi-Fi, you can use it on like your country's data plan. It's not really like an additional cost to you, as opposed to like having to do like actual phone calls or international
It is
texts and things
so
like
much
that.
easier to like talk to people everywhere now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I gotta do that with my family in the Philippines more
Yeah.
too.
Because they used to like, you used to buy like a prepaid card to just call, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's so expensive to have like a 15-minute phone call. And now you can like FaceTime.
Yeah, you can
Talk on
send
Messenger.
videos on
so many
through the
things you can do
DMs.
now.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and then one thing about like social media too, like so people that post, like I feel like a lot of it, like people want to have like be validated, you know,
Yes.
especially for the people that like post like their art or whatever, because it's like it's already hard enough to do the thing, and then when you like, cause like as an artist, we constantly doubt ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of this? No one cares.
Yep.
So it's like, it's good to just like, for people that are listening right now, like comment, like,
Share.
share.
Same.
Doesn't
Like,
cost anything.
Share is the biggest thing for
Exactly.
me, to be honest.
um,
And I can 1,010% relate to everything you're just saying right now.
yeah,
Because I just want, it's almost like you share because you want the world, like you want others to see
yeah.
what you're proud of.
You're just
or
sharing your art. Yeah.
And then social media does have a way of making you belittle yourself if you're not getting the attention.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, do you like it? Do you not like it? At least share the damn thing. Press the button. Like, sorry, don't
Free.
just look at it. And it's sometimes I feel like, oh, I shouldn't want that. Like, I'm okay if I didn't get a lot of likes or whatever. But then sometimes, like, damn.
I mean, you
how do
shouldn't.
I get my?
but it
how
is
do I get
nice.
it out there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
Share
don't-
my shit.
I feel like you don't need the validation, but it is nice.
It is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does help.
Yeah. So yeah, like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's free.
And then kind of bringing it back to like how some people are introverted. I know I have friends who are like, oh, I'm not really one to engage in social media. And I'm like, well, nobody's telling you to like create an account to like post and, you know, put things out there.
Oh,
But-
because they don't want to post.
yeah, like they don't want to have like their own pictures out there. But I'm like, you can make an account and you can comment on your friends' stories, you know?
Yeah, I
That's
know
true.
some people who do that. They're like, yeah, I don't really use it, but I just use it to kind of keep tabs on people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh, cool.
You know, nobody's telling you to have to be like a full-fledged
Yeah,
content
you're
creator,
like
but
an influencer.
be a supporter. If you're already gonna be like, if you're already looking for like videos or content, like just make an account and go support your friends.
Exactly.
You know, and I think you did make a really, really good point about how like commenting or sharing kind of does help validate that person.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe you can kind of see it as, you know, it might be, you don't want to overdo it, but you also like, you know, doing this simple act is like a huge thing for this person.
Yeah.
You know, people tend to not realize that.
Yeah. So
Especially
it's like
when
even
it's-
just like sharing.
Yeah, like a
s-
business or, you know, that entrepreneurship or art. That's very helpful,
Yeah.
I think.
It is. And like it's might be so minimal for you, but for the person who you're helping,
Absolutely.
you're
Exactly.
commenting for, it means a ton.
Yeah,
And they're going to remember that.
very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more tips? Oh, go ahead. Go
Let
ahead.
me see the
These are
last
really good.
I'm like, bring it on.
Go.
Bring on some more.
The last thing I have is just setting healthy boundaries for yourself. We did kind of touch upon it earlier.
We did.
But also just making sure that one, you are never putting yourself in a situation where you are not feeling like yourself, because that kind of that could change people's like perception of you, especially
Right.
like new people. You know, like pretending that you like something and then realizing that it's not at all for you.
Yeah.
You know, or trying to jump into spheres that's not necessarily yours. And then another one is, you know, also kind of understanding that if your friend is starting to become like a little too much, maybe try to have them like tone it down a little bit. And by
Right.
that, I mean, like I have a friend who they do not like to go shopping. Like they really don't like going to like clothing stores or like furniture stores, even like grocery shopping together. Like they'll
Wow.
rush you. And I'm like, now I know that
They're
that
just like, I just want to, let's get out of here.
exactly. Like, well, now I know that person is not somebody that I'm going to go shopping with, you know? And also, other examples of that could be like if one of your friends is like trauma dumping on you and you're like at a point where like, you know, you want to be a helpful friend, you want to be supportive, and you want to like, you'll listen to them like the first few times, but after the story becomes repetitive, you know, like after 8 times of hanging out and it hasn't changed, you know, sometimes it might just be good to like kind of guide them into like another direction and say,
Right.
hey, like, you know, I like heard you and I I gave you like all the advice that I could give. I don't know if I'm helping you anymore. Like, have you tried looking in other avenues for getting help?
Right.
You know, because the situation hasn't changed,
Yeah.
and it's straining you. It's straining me. Hearing that it's not getting better, I think you should look at other routes.
Have you ever done that? Like telling the person that I'm like, hey, this is too much.
There have definitely been times where I've had to tell somebody like, this is definitely like, I think a deeper level of like a topic that I have never had to deal with before, because this is just not an experience that I've had.
Okay.
I think you should go maybe try to find somebody who has had like a similar experience as you, and they might be able to give you like better inputs, because I don't want you to think I'm like not interested in at all what you're telling me, but I just cannot relate to what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And that might sound like really like critical and like really harsh to them, because they're like, well, you're like my friend who I go to for like a lot of things, and I'm like, well, like, you know, I can be there for you in other ways. This is just not a topic that I know how to help you with, and it's usually like heavy things like if there's like family issues, or if there are like when I was talking to my friend about like, it was kind of like on the flip side. One friend was coming to like me and another friend about like career advice, and she was talking to like a friend who is not at all in a good place in their career, and that friend had to be like, "Girl, like I'm not anywhere." Like, girl, I work at a restaurant, and you're talking about a corporate office. Yeah, I was like, these are not the same things. Yeah. But yeah, so it could be like a hard conversation to have, but also like you have to be able to like draw those boundaries.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to just be honest too with
that's the theme.
Yeah.
Honesty.
Yeah, it's just it all comes down to honesty, because sometimes like you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, I don't want, it seems harsh, like, oh, I don't want to listen to this right now. Because to see like if just it's heavy, it's a lot. But then it's like, is it really my job to like, if you do it a couple times and then like if it's just the same bullshit over and over, like we got a problem. You know what I mean? Like if you're coming to me with the same, yeah, like you got a problem. Like you're coming to me with the same bullshit over and over, and then I already told you what I thought, my opinions.
Yeah.
And nothing has, like you said, nothing has changed. It's like it's good to just put up that boundary, be like, hey, like I already told you my opinions and my advice. Like I don't need to keep telling you if you're not gonna listen.
You know who's really good at that? Anthony.
What? To be honest, of like,
because he always offers advice, you know, with his close friends, and he's very good at listening and, you know, basically giving you what you need to hear, right? But he's very firm on, if I'm giving you this information and you decide not to do anything with it, and this is like a reoccurring theme, he will literally be like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Yeah. Like, or I can't support that, you know? And I've heard him do that, you know, many times, and they're still really good friends with all the, you know, with all his buddies. But it sounds harsh, but it really isn't. And I feel like if you have that maturity as a friend who's hearing it, you kind of understand. Like, I am like, you know, making you waste your breath right now, because I know what I'm going to do with the information, and it's either you're going to do something with it or you're not.
And then it comes down to like the people pleasing mentality too. Like, because I used to be a very like take care of everybody. Like I just have to be there for people. But then I got pushed so hard to a point where I'm just like, I'm done.
You're drained.
Like I'm just drained. Like I can't do it anymore. I can't fix people. Like it's your job. Like you know what I mean? So I really love that. Like the boundaries. Yeah. Like you need to set that boundary for people, because if you let people just keep taking and taking and taking, they're just going to keep taking.
Left. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just going to keep taking unless you tell them to stop.
Right.
Yeah. Because like every time you trauma dump on people, it is taking energy from them. And like I'm okay doing that once in a while. You know, like I'm a therapist for a lot of people. and like it's cool. But then if I'm just like super drained, like I can't do it.
Right.
And
And honestly, too, I think being honest about that is good because you might be doing a disservice not telling somebody that you're not invested in what they're telling you, especially
That
if
is
it's
true.
meaningful for them.
exactly.
So it's almost like I'm doing you, a solid right now by saying I don't want to listen to it versus me listening to it. And it
Yeah.
very
Sounding
clearly.
And not giving a
disinterested.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, wow.
Just building on that one really quick. I have like a few friends who do come to me for like whenever they're having issues, and I will try to make sure that one, I am in like a place good enough to hear them or like to listen to them. Like a lot of times they'll message me like as soon as I get off work, and I'll have to text them back and be like, hey, I just got off work. I need to
like not the best
kind of
time.
decompress. Like
Yeah.
maybe give me like 2 hours and then we can talk about it. And sometimes even just letting them know that they might have gone to somebody else and now that they're no longer needing you anymore.
Right.
So, making sure that you yourself are in a position to actually help them.
Yeah.
that's
for helping
good.
them.
That's good.
I'm
Like a self-care.
right.
Yeah.
Like let me take care of me and then I can take care of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let me make sure my glass is full before I can, start helping you.
Exactly. And then just like the last thing I want to leave off on is like realize that your friends are your friends. They are not like your therapists or people who are like mental health professionals. And I mean that like don't use therapy talk on your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can get like really grating really easily. Like when like if you need a break from somebody, just tell them like, hey, I need like some time off, or like I just need I'm just gonna like do my own thing this week. Don't be going to them and saying things like, oh, I need to work on like my mental health, and I'm trying to take away things that are like causing me like a lot of stress and things that are might be bringing me a lot of anxiety. Like the more kind of like therapy details that you give, the more people start to think like, am I
Is it
the reason
me?
for your
Yeah.
stress? Or like I've had a friend who I was talking to, and they'd be like, oh, they were like in my inner circle and now they're like in my outer circle. And I'm like, I was like, okay, that's it's a very common therapy activity. Don't be telling people that they were once in your inner circle.
You're not in my top 8 anymore.
Wow.
Right? So I mean, like, just talk to friends like they're your friends. Like they don't need to hear like the discussions that you're having with your therapists, and then, like as if they're like your friend, they should be understanding of you going and seeking help.
Right.
But they also don't have to know all of your lessons that's going on, because like I think therapy really is like unless you're in like couples therapy, it's really like a personal journey, and they don't necessarily need to know all the details of it.
Right.
Because the more details you give, like imagine going and getting help and then you not changing, people are going to be like, maybe it's a fluke. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you in therapy?
I did go for like a few sessions, but if you are seeking therapy, it's really important that you find a therapist that is one, trained in what the type of help you're looking for. Like the first therapist I got assigned to or matched with her specialty was like depression, nervousness, anxiety. And like after like a few sessions, she was like, I don't think you're depressed at all, and you don't seem like you're anxious or nervous about anything. So she's like, I think you should probably go see like another person that might be a little more that might have more training into what you're looking for. So a lot of people don't realize that like there's a lot of different like types of therapy. There's a lot of different branches.
People will probably just generalize it like, oh, there's something wrong with me, therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So making sure that you find the right therapist that knows your specialty and like is used to handling your types of issues, I think is really important.
Damn.
I can agree.
There's a lot of gems. There's a lot of gems in this episode. I know. Mickey got notes.
Can I just say that whole top 8 thing with MySpace, was it top 8? Top 10? Top 5?
You could like change it.
It was. I think the original was
like-
top 8.
But
Yeah.
what a time. Like, did you guys have MySpace?
Yeah, I had a MySpace.
Yeah. If you make it to somebody's top 8, it'd be like,
literally,
oh.
like go home because you're pissed off like after school and like bump somebody down.
Oh my god.
The nerve.
I know.
Like, who did we
Oh
think
no,
we
she
were?
did.
And then like you go and then you got to answer to it the next day. Oh, I saw I'm your number 3. I'm not your number 1 anymore. And then it's like what a weird. That's so weird.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it was.
to rate your
It was an
friends
interesting time for
to
sure.
rate- Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah.
No, but this was really good topics. I enjoyed what you brought today. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks for bringing notes.
Oh my gosh, thank
Love
you.
it.
I know,
Yeah,
that
thanks for
was
having
really
me
good.
on.
Yeah. We should end it with we have a game.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
What is the game called?
Game.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is from the makers of We're Not Really Friends. Or no, sorry, We're Not Really Strangers. And that's like I know we're not really friends.
It's like after
Totally
we just
flipped,
talked about
totally flipped.
maintaining friends and be like,
Oh, that might be a good one too. Be like, oh, we're really not.
yeah.
I was like, maybe I don't know you. We're not really strangers. Just clarifying that. And then this is their self-love version. So you could play this one with friends or you could play it like by yourself. The premise of the game is basically like you pull out a question card. There's 3 levels. Like in this game, it's past, present, future. So you pull out a card and then you like reflect and then you answer it about yourself. And it's kind of nice because that way people can kind of get an understanding of like how you perceive yourself. And if they, because sometimes, you know, like when you ask your friends, like, oh, what do you think of me? They're like, oh, they're so strong. They're so intelligent. They're so confident. And then when you actually hear your friend talk about themselves, you're like, wow, they really are not who I thought they were.
Yeah.
Like they were really putting up like a mask.
Yeah.
So this is like I like this game because you have to answer it about yourself and it helps your friends kind of get a better understanding of how you see yourself and how they can help you if they feel the need to.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
let's
do
get
it.
Let's do it.
So
Okay, so first category,
So
first
there's-
round.
there's 3 levels to this, yeah?
Yeah, 3 levels. The
Okay.
first round is past.
Okay.
And this question is, when was the last time you impressed yourself?
Okay.
Do we have to specify what it was? Or do we just... I guess it's probably better to do that. Yeah.
So like today, and I'm not going to say why. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Right now. All right, you want to start, Mick? You want to start it off?
Okay. So when was the last time you impressed yourself? I'd have to say probably like today and this week in general. I'm training for like a half marathon and it sucks running in Nevada in the summer. But I'm doing this thing where I'm like, okay, every week I'm going to go add a half mile. And now I'm up to 3.5 miles. And so I'm just kind of like constantly like building up to it. And this week, oh my God, it was like so hot. Like today I woke up late. So I was like, I'm going to run. Like I have to run today. And I ended up running in like 90-degree weather. Yeah, it was rough. Like I was running around like this, like the marina, and there's like no shade or coverage on their paths. But the fact that I was able to like do it, and that I was actually like energized to do it, I think that was like that impressed me. You know, I'll give myself kudos for that. Should have woke up earlier, but you know what? I'm being gracious to myself. I still did it.
Hey, that's good.
It's true.
Felicia?
Yes. Mine is photography related.
Okay.
And I was editing not an old set, but just a set I did was like a personal project. And now that I've kind of slowed down on clients, I can go back to those.
Mm-hmm.
But I was editing the photos and I was just very pleased with how they came out. And so it's just the last couple posts with his name is Carter, but I like doing very like artsy, fine art type photography. And I was just looking at my photo and I was just proud. You know, I was like, damn, that's a good photo. Like, good job, Felicia. And I think it's nice because sometimes I'm overly critical and I just don't give myself proud moments or believe, you know, enough that I should get proud or be proud of myself. But that was just a good reminder. It's like, okay, that's a good photo. Very nice. You can
Nice.
put that on a wall somewhere.
Yes. Little wins are wins.
Yes.
That is true.
absolutely.
For me, I guess I would say within the last like few weeks, it's more of I feel like I'm kind of impressed on the more I do the podcast and like a lot of the videos, YouTube videos that I've been making, I feel like I gotten better and better every time I do it, because like, I mean, one of the reasons why I started the podcast is because I wanted to be able to articulate my thoughts better and like just speak,
Right.
more confidently without necessarily have to like overthink and like, oh, what do I need to say right now? So now I feel that I'm getting used to just speaking in front of a camera, being on a podcast, doing YouTube. It's just like, it just really helped my confidence. I'm still working on, they say a lot of like filler words that shouldn't be there. I'm just like slowly like trying to cut it out, but it's a work in progress, and I feel like I've impressed myself with the progress that I've made.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very good. Very good, everybody.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Okay, level 2. This is the present.
Oh.
What do you have great taste in?
I can start.
Okay.
I would probably say music.
I agree.
I feel like I mean, it's like, it's hard to say that I'm like, oh, my taste in music is like better than everybody else.
Right,
but then
right.
it's like, I just feel like I have an ear for like good melody, good, just overall good music. Like, I don't know how else to describe that. And when I DJ or make my own music, like, people seem to enjoy it. So like, that's probably like my, I guess my validation of like, probably picking the right songs, doing the right things, if people are enjoying my mix, my set.
Nice.
Yeah, so I guess music.
Very
Nice. Felicia?
Me? Okay. For me, photography.
I feel like we're getting
I talk about photography a lot, okay? I'm tooting my horn today, y'all. No, I think art is obviously subjective, and it's all about perception, and not everybody's art is for everybody, which is the beauty of it. But what I will say, at least I get a lot of feedback regarding like, the photographer's eye. Like, your eye is incredible. And I think that's very important for somebody who is in photography, because that makes your work unique. Like, everybody can shoot a photo and, learn the technical side to things. But I think having the ability to capture literally what your little eyes see, is, for me, I guess, a tasteful skill. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, as a photographer, I agree. She's pretty good.
Oh.
Felicia got Felicia got an eye for photos.
Yeah. Yay. See, validation. Thank you.
I think I have good taste in like party planning.
Oh, okay.
Love throwing a fun party, whether it be like a brunch or like a full-thrown like house party. People will go and they'll say that they had like a great time, and usually I try to make it like a place of like inclusion where everybody feels involved or like included, and I will always try to do things that'll put like my friends like put them outside their comfort zones in terms of like creativity or thinking. And I'm thinking like one of my most recent parties I did like a Project Runway party. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
Yes.
Where they like have to design like new outfits like every week, and then the worst one gets eliminated. And they always do like an unconventional challenge where they give them like random material. Like one time they had to go to like a pet store and buy supplies there, or they went to like a newspaper factory. And so from one of my parties, I had my friends all design clothes out of wrapping paper.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they all created like really, really cool outfits. And I think that's just like it's fun because people are not usually doing things like that. They had to be creative. They had to like play. They had to work together in their teams. So, and then everybody said that they had like a great time.
That would be such a cool concept for a photo shoot. Can you imagine like having like small teams and then you're giving like random supplies?
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
You do some type of like high fashion thing and then it'd be sick.
You should do it.
Do
Feel
it.
free to Take it. Take
Well, I mean, you gotta plan it. I'll shoot it. You video it.
There you go.
We just need the models. Okay, that's cool. I really like that.
Yeah, and I've been to a Christmas party where like Mickey was kind of hosting like the Christmas games, and
They get crazy
Yeah.
at our house.
yeah,
Oh,
it's fun. It was fun.
Let's do one at the studio.
There you go, man.
There's definitely the space for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say I've ever had, like, nobody's ever told me that I had a boring party or I was doing a bad job hosting. Oh my God. And then I think the reason why I remembered that was because last week I had to host my 10-year reunion.
Oh, you did?
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. It was like, it was weird seeing everybody 10 years later, but everybody said they had a great time. So if you can make a reunion fun, I think it's telling.
Yeah, that is true.
Very nice. All right, what's the last one?
Last one. Where is level 3? Here we go. This one is, I want to become blank.
I don't want.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to become blank. I don't want to.
Maybe it's
become
better
blank.
to talk about what we want to become.
No, I like that. I don't.
Yeah. What you don't want to become, JERiCK. I don't want to become. You know what comes to mind, and I don't know if this is a word. I know it's a word. I think it's a word, but like I don't want to become regretful. Does that make like I don't want to get to a point in my life where it's literally too late to do something, right?
Yeah.
Probably because of health or whatever, but and then look back and be like, I wish I had done these things. You know, I at least want to get to that point in my life where I can say, even if I didn't get there, I at least tried, because I feel like that's such a heavy thing to kind of like leave the world with, is just being like, what if, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. That sounds very scary. I'm getting scared right now.
Just like
I know.
living life with regrets.
Yeah. Don't want to experience that, and I don't want to have that thought like, you know, you're on your deathbed and it's like,
Yeah.
didn't do this, didn't do that. Or like one of the things my grandpa said to me is he's like, God, I wish I traveled, you know. Because he lived in New York and then he spent a lot of his time in California, but he's Italian, he's never been to Italy. And his sister, like he had a lot of family who went to Italy and just traveled, and he's like, you know, 90 years old. He's already passed, but he told me, he's like, I wish I traveled. And you can just hear it in his voice.
Yeah. All the regret.
Like that regret, and just be like, I should have just done it. You know, I should have went home. I should have seen Italy. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want that to happen. So.
Well, Mickey?
The first word that came into my head was complacent. Like, I don't want to become complacent. And I think like how I am seeing that is like, I don't ever want to get to a point where I'm no longer interested in like improving or getting better at the things I like doing, you know?
That's good.
I mean, there are things that like I don't want to do that I'm probably never going to do because I don't have an interest in that. But like things that I love, like traveling, for example, or even like running or like hanging out with friends. Like I hope I never get to a point where I'm like, I'm satisfied here. Like I don't need to improve. I don't need to make more friends. I don't need to continue running, you know, because that just seems like a waste of life if you're not constantly improving and getting better at the things that you want to do or the things that you like doing.
Yeah.
You know, you should always constantly be striving to like challenge yourself to get better, to do things better. I mean, it might not necessarily all become like, you know, Olympic runners,
Yeah.
but making sure that you are still holding on to the things that you're passionate about and constantly honing in on that craft, I think is really important to me.
Wow.
Nice. I like that.
That's awesome.
I feel like mine is probably a little bit of a combination of both of you guys' answer. I don't want to be I don't want to become the person that doesn't pursue their dreams. I think I would freaking hate that.
Yeah.
Like if I just give up, like
Yeah.
what the hell am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like I can't even like comprehend that idea, just because I'm so set and like, this is what I want to do. This is my dream. I'm gonna have to pursue it no matter what. And like becoming not that is, even though like maybe my dreams kind of like, sometimes it takes a pivot to like, oh, my interest is just this now and like not
Right.
that. But then it's like, but it's still like, I definitely don't want to do a 9 to 5 ever again. And so like that's just not an option for me. So it's like, yeah, I just don't want to become the person that like don't pursue their dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
good.
that's just wild. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? Like it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, I don't know.
Good. That was. I might
Yeah.
pick that up.
What that
That
the
thing.
little game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to reflect
fun.
on myself.
Yeah.
Found it at
Got that.
Target. Well, I got a targeted ad on Instagram for her.
They got you.
Well, because I love
And
the
now when
original.
we go on social media, we're gonna see advertisements about that.
know.
Yeah, they be
That's
listening.
how it works. Jeez, this is good topics.
Yeah, I love
enjoyed the
that.
Conversation.
Yeah, thanks for coming in the
Good way to end
podcast.
it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I really enjoyed our
Yeah,
conversations.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
I love that he was
you.
so prepared. He got notes and lists. I'm like, oh shit, okay,
Setting
like
the bar.
exactly. So whoever's coming on next,
You better have like a presentation.
like a scroll.
Jeez.
I guess. Do you want to plug anything, Mick?
No, I have really nothing to
Social
advertise.
media,
Well,
follow
yeah,
you on
if I'm allowed to talk
Instagram.
about socials, sure.
Yeah, go for it.
My Instagram is at That's So Mickey, similar to That's So Raven, my favorite TV show.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's So Mickey on Instagram, and that's really all I have. I don't use TikTok.
Okay.
But yeah, feel free to add me on there, and if I see that we have similar interests, I'll definitely send a follow back.
If you guys need a new friend, Mickey.
They'll put you in a spear, but
Yeah, he'll put you in a
it'll be
category.
the right one.
What kind of friend are you? Yeah, I think that's it. Any final thoughts?
No,
No?
just good stuff to bring home and
Yeah.
evaluate my friend ships on.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.